Hello everyone. Today I'm going to go over 10 of my favorite tips and tricks for junk journaling in 2024. That's a tongue twister. This is Jennifer from Junk Journals by Jen, where journaling is about the journey. Now, as I always say, there are lots more tips than what I'm going to list. These are just a few of my favorites, and I would love to hear in the comments some of yours. Also, I've got a game changer that I'm going to save until number 1, so stick with me until the end. And let's get right to it. Number 10 is how to use packing tape to make a die cut look shiny. And why would you want to do that, you might ask? Well, let me show you. I've got a little word die here. It says Faith. And I'm just going to take a piece of cardstock and a piece of packing tape. And it just needs to be bigger than your word. You just put it right on the cardstock, the word or picture or whatever it is you're cutting. Put it on there and then do your sandwich like you do. And then go ahead and run it through. I don't know how I didn't know this before, but I really love this tip a lot. It's going to change how my die cuts look, I can tell you that. And then take it off. Let's see what I've got here to know where my pokey tool went. The easiest part, getting this out, right? There we go. Got an X-Acto knife. That'll poke it out. All right. And then you pop out your little things in your holes there. Which come out easy. You'd think they might not with the tape, but they do. And then look at that. It's so shiny. It looks like it's been embossed, doesn't it? It looks thick and shiny. It is so amazing. I love it. All right, so that is number 10, using packing tape. Number 9, let's just put this away. Number 9 is how to cut a perfect large circle. And there's a couple ways to cut circles. If you're cutting a small circle, like under an inch or so, or a couple inches, I would say cut it like you cut a fussy cut and turn the page. But if you are going to cut a large circle, like for a circle pocket or something, go ahead and trace your circle like you would. Use a pencil that has lead in it. That's a tip. I was so bad at cutting circles. I found circle cutting intimidating in the past until I learned this, actually. And then what you want to do is hold the paper still and move your scissors until the tip gets to the end of the circle. Then when you get to the side, you can turn your paper. But the key here is you're moving your scissors, not the paper every time. When you move the paper every time, you get short, jagged cuts. Probably you already knew this. I don't know. I did not know it, and it has changed how smooth my circles are. It's one long continuous motion, you'll see. And look at that circle. Isn't that great? Okay, number 8. This was on my tips for using wax melts, but I think it's worth mentioning again. And that is to use ice for your stamp in between your stamping. So when you are using your wax seal kit, if you're like me and you've just got one of these warmers, your stamps, if you don't have a lot of stamps to change it out with, get really hot. And that will cause you to get a fuzzy image. So get a little bag of ice, stick your stamp down on it, and it will cool it off while your next batch of wax is melting. And then you'll have a crisp image on your next one. So that's a great tip there. All right, number 7 is to use a Post-it note to hold a small piece of paper to use with a punch. So let's say I've got this little piece of paper here, and I want to use this butterfly punch, and I know it's big enough for it, but I just can't reach down in there and do it. Use a Post-it note. You simply take your Post-it note, stick it to the side of the paper, and use that as a holder in there. You can turn it around to make sure you've got all the paper covered, and then punch. And there, I've got my butterfly, and it worked out just fine. So that's a good way to use up your scraps that you thought were too small to do punches with. And I've got a butterfly to use. All right, number 7, that was number 7. Number 6 is something that occurred to me recently, and I know junk journalers hate to throw things away, and I in particular hate to throw things away. So I noticed that I would cut off, a lot of times I trim off the edges of book pages when I make pockets and stuff. I'll just like cut off these edges here because I want the text. And then I'm like, I'll throw these away or something. And then I thought, why am I throwing those away? Sometimes I'll save them for collage and stuff. But then I thought, why don't I stamp those? I have lots of word stamps that I don't know what to do with. So I've been taking the word stamps lately and just stamping them in my ink and then making lots of little word stamps. And then I cut them. Let me show you. And here's another tip. If you don't have a stamp block or don't have one handy, sometimes you can get it to stick to the top of your, no, sometimes it won't. This one's new, so it's not going to. But sometimes you can get it to stick to the top of your ink top. I've used that a lot of times for stamping. And then you just stamp amazing on there a bunch of times in a row, and you can cut it out. I got 2 book pages here. So, and then I just put it in this little jar I made on my desk. So I've got all these beautifuls made. And then it's perfect for finishing off collages or clusters or whatever. And I didn't waste all that wonderful paper. So a little tip for you there. Hope you're finding value here today. If you are, please hit the like button. I really appreciate it. Number 5. Now this one, I use a lot of old books, and I use a lot of book pages in collages. And something I found, and you might have found this too, is that a lot of times with old book pages like this one, it's very flimsy and it's very hard to stamp. So what I do is take a piece of cardstock. You can put it behind it. It doesn't have to even match the shape of it exactly. So I've got, that's an angle. I just put it behind there in a similar angle. Take your ink and then ink it. And it makes that a lot more sturdy and easier to ink. Before, I would try to just ink it, and what would happen would be I would hold it right at the edge, and I would just end up inking my fingers like crazy. And probably you know what I'm talking about. But look at that, perfectly inked book page. No, well, who knows what that is? I think it's paint. It's probably not ink. I don't know. It might be ink. Probably ink from earlier. Okay, number 4. Now, we talked earlier about putting shine on something. This one is a homemade remedy to take shine off of shiny pictures. And this one came from another YouTuber at Snowstorm Crafts. And I'll link it below. We're going to try to take the shine off of this magazine image with this. And it takes baby powder, but I noticed baby powder is simply cornstarch now, so you can use cornstarch or baby powder, whatever you have handy. I have this baby powder, so I'm going to use it. And I'm not going to make a lot of it, but you put your cornstarch. It takes school glue, and that smells good. I'll tell you, I like the baby powder because you get that good smell. I don't have measurements because she didn't use measurements. So we're going to try this on the fly here and see how it goes. I've got some Elmer's, regular Elmer's multi-purpose glue. Okay. And then we're going to add some water. Just out of here. Let's try just a little bit first. We can always add more. And then what she did was put the lid on. I think it needs more water. It's just glued up. And when she did this, I'll tell you, she tried it with Mod Podge on one and then this on the other, and it was noticeably different on how much shine it got rid of. And I know we're always looking to get rid of shine on pictures. I use a lot of magazine images in my journals, so. Okay, that looks about right. It should look thicker than milk. About like a gesso, I would say. You know what gesso is? It's about what it looks like. Okay, now let's see how this goes on. I'm going to do the top part and then we'll let it dry. And then we'll come back and see if there's any less gloss on it. Okay, that is the, man, that smells good. That's the technique, okay? And this does work. I have tried it, so. It's been a while, though. I tried it when I first saw the video. I should have written down measurements, but I'm not a measurer, as many of you know. Okay, there we go. Let's set that aside for now. And then we'll go on to number 3. Number 3 is a great tip for when your mojo is lacking. And I say, do something anyway. Do something crafty. Get out your die cutting machine and get out a set of dies and just go ahead and cut a bunch of dies. I've got these here. You can leave them on my tip is to leave them on here and do a whole bunch of words at one time. Like this. I won't even take them off there. Just leave them on like this. Just put on some great music or a favorite video and just die cut. Your future crafting self will thank you. And then you've got lots of little words. I've got a smile here. And man, I wish that was shiny. I love those words like that now. But just do a whole bunch of these and stick them in envelopes or put them in. What I do is put the extras in with my die cuts in the envelopes, the little CD holders that I hold them in. And that way I know if I'm looking for smile, I've got a bunch of them in there with the smile. You can store them however you want to store them. Okay. Number 2 is to use a hot glue gun in molds instead of resin or wax seals. And I've tried it in a couple of molds. I've tried it in these and I've tried it in my resin molds and it works like a charm. I will tell you, I don't have colored. Here's one I made out of this cameo, and I really like it with the clear, actually. That's going into my possibles to use. And then this one came out of the heart, this heart mold here. And it's a tree. I had the tree crooked, but I'll show you how to do it. The one thing I'll tell you, when you do on here, you have to be real aware of how much glue you use, because this glue came out super fast for me and I overflowed it. So just be aware of that. Okay, so it's just like doing your wax, but you're using glue. It works the same way. I will tell you, they have colored glues at Dollar Tree. So they're $1.25 for, I know they have gold there. I've seen them. I don't know what other colors they have, but they do carry gold. I think that would be really pretty. I'm going to look for some of the gold glue. So if you don't have a wax kit yet, but you have some old resin molds that you'd like to use, this is a handy tip. Now, the big one. I'm super excited about this. Well, I told you I'd show you this, so let's see if it cools quick enough so I can show you. And our picture is still really wet, but we'll come back to that. Let's see. There we go. Popped right out. I love that about it. I did try it a couple times to make sure it wouldn't stick in my in the details, and it doesn't. It comes right out. And look at that. It definitely, you can see the tree and the little star mold. It definitely works great. So definitely an option for you. Okay, I'm so excited. I can hardly stand it. This one is number 1 for a reason. Definitely a game changer for me. And if you already know it, don't I feel silly, but this is a way to keep track of your pin on your glue bottle. I know a lot of you have beautiful tassels. I ordered pins to make tassels and they didn't fit in my glue bottle. I'm not sure what I've done wrong, but I go through so many pins, it's not even funny. I saw this somewhere on YouTube and I wish I could remember where so I could give her credit, but I'm sorry I don't. She simply took a piece of foam and stuck it to the side of her glue bottle. Now I'm using foam tape. I wish I had just a piece of foam to glue on there, but this foam tape works fine. I put it on my other glue bottle already. And then when you go to use your pin, my pin's stuck in here, you just stick it in there. And look, you can use it. It doesn't come out. You're not gonna misplace it or wonder where it is. And then pop it right out of there and put it back in when you're done. I don't know why I think that's so amazing, but I do. So simple, but how many people are not going to lose their pin to their glue tonight because of that? I'm so excited. Okay, let's check on this paper. I think maybe if I dried it, it would help. I don't know if you can tell, but where it's dried, it's definitely matte. There's no shine there at all. Let me see if you can see that. There's no shine. There's shine where it's wet, but where it's dry, compare it to the bottom, compare the top. There is no shine there. Really nice. So you'd have to give your project a little time to dry. I think it would work great on pictures or book pages in particular. And maybe the magazine pages, once they're glued down, would be better. I still think it's a great tip. I am going to keep some of this on hand for that. So, okay, everyone, that's 10 of my favorite tips and tricks for 2024. There's so many more. Like I said, just 10 of them. Come visit me at my Etsy shop, which is linked below, and take care until next time. Bye, everyone.